Welcome back. Today we're taking a deep dive into Lesson 80 from A Course in Miracles.
This is a fascinating one. It suggests all our problems are already solved.
It really does. It sounds a bit counterintuitive, especially when we're dealing with tough stuff in our lives,
Yeah.
but it's building on that idea from Lesson 79. Remember that one?
Yeah, where it talked about healing being a matter of perspective.
Exactly. So before we get into that, let's hear what the lesson actually says.
Sounds good.
Okay. Let me recognize my problems have been solved.
Yep.
If you are willing to recognize your problems, you will recognize that you have no problems. Your one central problem has been answered, and you have no other. Therefore, you must be at peace. Salvation thus depends on recognizing this one problem and understanding that it has been solved. One problem, one solution. Salvation is accomplished. Freedom from conflict has been given you. Accept that fact, and you're ready to take your rightful place in God's plan for salvation. Your only problem has been solved. Repeat this over and over to yourself today with gratitude and conviction. You have recognized your only problem, opening the way for the Holy Spirit to give you God's answer. You have laid deception aside and seen the light of truth. You have accepted salvation for yourself by bringing the problem to the answer. And you can recognize the answer because the problem has been identified. You are entitled to peace today. A problem which has been resolved cannot trouble you. Only be certain that you do not forget that all your problems are the same. Their many forms will not deceive you while you remember this. One problem, one solution.
Accept the peace this simple statement brings.
It's very direct. It's really saying that if we can grasp that one central problem and its solution, well, we can find genuine peace.
It is direct, but how can that be? How can every problem, no matter what it is, come from a single source?
The lesson helps clear that up. It says that this single source is, that belief in separation from God. It's like the illusion of being separate from love and peace.
I see.
And that's what actually creates the experience of problems in the first place.
Okay, so it's not saying that our challenges aren't real, just that we need to look at them differently.
Yeah, like they all come from this deeper internal misconception.
The world we see, including the problems we think we have, they're all part of this illusion. But when we recognize that the root of it all, that belief in separation, is already resolved, it gives us a new way of seeing things.
Yeah, it's like even while we're still going through those challenges, we can still experience peace.
So it's more about our perspective than our circumstances actually changing.
Right. That's what allows us to experience peace regardless of what's happening around us, because we stop identifying with the problem as who we are.
And it can also lead to more empowered responses when we do face difficulties.
That's right. We go from reacting out of fear or anger to responding with patience and trust.
And ultimately, it leads to that experience of inner freedom. No matter what's going on externally, we know we are not our problems.
Recognizing that the core issue, the separation belief, is already solved doesn't mean we just become passive or deny that challenges exist.
Right.
It's about facing them from a place of peace and understanding.
So it seems like this lesson is inviting us to trust on a much deeper level.
It's a big change from how we usually try to solve problems.
Yeah, where we often focus on changing external things to find relief. So how do we actually apply this idea that all problems have been solved?
Prioritize inner peace over trying to control everything on the outside.
That's a whole new way of thinking about it. So how do we actually do that?
Well, the workbook gives us some practical guidance. It starts by saying, in our longer practice periods today, we will claim the peace that must be ours when the problem and the answer have been brought together. The problem must be gone because God's answer cannot fail. Having recognized one, we have recognized the other. The solution is inherent in the problem. You are answered and have accepted the answer. You are saved. Now let the peace that your acceptance brings be given you. Close your eyes and receive your reward. Recognize that your problems have been solved. Recognize that you are out of conflict, free, and at peace. Above all, remember that you have one problem and that the problem has one solution. It is in this that the simplicity of salvation lies. It is because of this that it is guaranteed to work. I think what it's really highlighting is the importance of actively claiming the peace that's already ours. Like we don't have to earn it or wait for it, it's already here.
Right. It's saying that the solution is already contained within the problem itself.
Yeah.
Like just by seeing the problem, we're also seeing the solution.
And it also invites us to actually receive that peace that comes with accepting this, like closing our eyes and experiencing that freedom that's already within us.
It's emphasizing that simplicity.
Right.
One problem, one solution.
Right. And that simplicity is what makes it so effective. It's not a complicated formula or a bunch of rules, It's a fundamental change in how we see things that lets us experience peace no matter what's happening around us.
I love that. So are there some specific ways to practice this?
It does give some, yeah. It says, assure yourself often today that your problems have been solved. Repeat the idea with deep conviction as frequently as possible, and be particularly careful to remember to apply the idea for today to any specific problem that may arise. Say quickly, let me recognize this problem has been solved. We're training our minds to look beyond that illusion of separation and to see the resolution that's always there.
Actually applying it to specific situations.
Exactly. When we run into a problem, instead of getting caught up in fear or worry, we can pause and remind ourselves, let me recognize this problem has been solved. That one little statement can completely change our perspective and allow us to deal with things with more peace and clarity.
Interrupting our usual way of thinking and choosing a more powerful one.
Right. And then the last part, it talks about letting go of grievances. It says, let us be determined not to collect grievances today. Let us be determined to be free of problems that do not exist. The means is simple honesty. Do not deceive yourself about what the problem is, and you must recognize it has been solved.
Holding on to those grievances just keeps that illusion of separation going. It keeps us trapped in a cycle of suffering.
True freedom comes from letting go of those and choosing to see things through love and forgiveness.
That phrase, let me recognize this problem has been solved.
When we say that phrase, we're not pretending the problem isn't there or denying that it's real. We're acknowledging it, but at the same time, we're remembering that it's already been resolved on a deeper level. And as we practice this, we might notice a change inside ourselves. Maybe less fear and anxiety and more of a sense of peace, even if the situation itself hasn't actually changed.
It's not about forcing ourselves to feel peaceful or ignoring the problem. It's more like gently reminding ourselves of the truth and letting that truth guide our thoughts and actions.
And this practice can also really affect how we respond to challenges.
How so?
Well, instead of reacting out of fear or anger, we're more likely to approach things with patience, understanding, even creativity.
Because we're grounded in that awareness that the core problem, the belief in separation, has been resolved. So we don't feel as threatened or overwhelmed by things happening around us.
Exactly. And we can tap into those deeper inner resources, strength, wisdom, resilience that we might not even realize we have.
It's like a whole new level of inner strength. And the more we practice recognizing that our problems are already solved, the more natural it becomes our default way of seeing the world. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Lesson 80, we invite you to think about how this practice might shift your own experience.
How might you use this phrase, let me recognize this problem has been solved, to create more peace and ease in your life?
We encourage you to experiment with it and see what happens. You might be amazed by even those subtle shifts that happen when you choose to see things from the perspective of your inherent wholeness.
And remember, true peace isn't something you get from outside circumstances. It's a state of being that we access by shifting our perspective. And that shift is available to us right now, no matter what we might be going through.
I woke up to a miracle today.